Within a year, most of them are saying, I wish I'd stayed in prison a bit longer. I wish I was slowly released. But they can't do that. That would be illegal. And that's why we argue the need for a retreat, to take them someplace, to slowly reintegrate them back into society at their own time, and therefore help them come to terms with the skills they've lost, help them come to terms with the way society is today. And by that way, by freeing people, we're actually giving them a life. At the moment, by freeing innocent people, we're giving them no quality of life whatsoever.
The government need to recognise that, you know, we are victims of a crime, and they should put something in place to rehabilitate us or get us back into society.
For Mojo, what we are trying to do, we're trying to set up a form of retreat, somewhere where we can go and get help, professional help, but also where we can get together, because there's nothing better than shared experiences.
When they get out, it isn't the world that they think it is. The first wee while is a honeymoon period, but after that it becomes extremely difficult for them to cope with what's happening round about them.
One of the guys used to say, this is like a walk in the park. After what I've been through, after watching people who have lost limbs or people in war-torn areas, this will be a breeze after what I've been through, 25 years of hell. Coming out here will be a walk in the park. Within a year, this guy was suicidal. But they don't realise that. When they first come out, they are, as I said, they're on a high, with high expectations, but because they've had no taste of society for so long, their expectations never fill up to the realism, and they soon end up falling very quickly. First trip to a supermarket will overwhelm them. We don't understand the choices that we have in society and the luxury of choices. When you've had no choices, you can become very overwhelmed in a supermarket.
Your families expect you to be overjoyed and so on when you come out, but what they forget is they've got a very damaged person coming out in terms of feelings of depression, lots of anger. The thing you have to put up with is the anger which a lot of these people feel.
When somebody's released, they come out in a euphoria. They have high expectations and how they're going to live their life and how society is, and they soon realise, one, they're not equipped to deal with a society. They've lost too many social skills and tools, and two, the society has moved on so quickly, they find it very difficult. And it's usually about 9 months to a year, the breakdowns start. And when you live on your edge for so long, violence becomes the norm. And that's what prisons are. Prisons are just utter violence. They're suddenly thrown out here and told to live like a normal person. Suddenly they're walking down the streets. One of my clients couldn't understand walking down the streets like in Edinburgh, and people would bump into him, and he'd be getting wound up. And I mean wound up. He's ready to lose it. They're suddenly thrown back out here, and they are lost. They're living under high stress. Their anger starts bubbling up when they realise what they've lost. And as I say, they don't realise in the first 9 months, because their head's just, it's like a whirlwind out here. Everything's going so fast. They never remember the first couple of months after being released. After 9 months, suddenly everything starts to break down, and their anger, they all describe their anger from the gut.
If you were to get trauma victims and build a pyramid, we would be sitting at the top of the pyramid, in the top of the 1% of the most severely traumatized people they've ever come across. Our trauma has been compounded year after year after year after year. And as I've been diagnosed by the best psychiatrists in the country, and they said that because of the way that we have lived for so long in prison, our bodies and our minds think it's natural. And we're used to that, like living under this tension and all that. There wasn't a night in prison that I didn't sit there and cry my eyes out, thinking about my kids and my family. But I'll tell you one thing, I shed more fucking tears since I came out of prison than I did when I was in. I keep breaking down. There's hardly a day goes by that I don't sit in the house and, oh, I'm in a wee world of my own.
It's just a number of, small things that's insignificant to people on the outside in their everyday life, if you like. These things are big to me because I've never had to deal with them for years and years and years, and you really don't know where to begin.
Even now, I don't sleep. I cat nap for an hour or so, and I've been out 17 years now.
If people can imagine only having 3 or 4 hours sleep every night, every day, every week, every year, you're always living on your edge. You're never relaxed, and that is why they cannot sleep. They are scared to go into the deep sleep, because if they go into the REM, they can't control their memories, and their memories start coming flooding back, and they start having horrific nightmares.
Although it's not at the forefront of your mind all the time, you know, it's still in the back. So when you're going to try and get to sleep and all these kind of things, these things are still in your mind, although you're not actually thinking about them.
And until you get in there early to treat them, no one so far, there is no time limit to help these people at the moment because there's no one actually helping them and giving them the specialised treatment that they need.
The public don't understand that, you know, they think that you're coming out once you're released for the Court of Appeal and they're reading in the paper about all these millions you're going to get and all the rest of it. They think that, you know, you should get on with your life, you should be happy, you know, and money doesn't bring happiness. But that's the kind of impression they get. It's getting people to recognise that the lack of support that miscarriage of justice victims get when they're released from prison. It's making the public aware of these kind of things, and the government are aware of it. So, you know, my question is, why not do something about it? You do something for every other victim of a crime, so why not for us?
If the British government can turn round and give the best, and I mean the best, help in the world to the Beirut hostages. And remember, the Beirut hostages were taken hostage in a foreign country by foreign people. We were taken hostage by our own government. And the Beirut hostages didn't spend 15 or 20, 25 years in prison. They weren't tortured and brutalised like we were. They didn't have prison officers spitting in their food and pissing in their food like we had. They weren't living in a war zone for 24 hours a day like we were, day in and day out, year in and year out.
And I don't want to start going to doctors and getting medication and all this kind of stuff, and, you know, no. I just want to be able to get on with my life like any other normal person. But at the moment I just cannot see how that's going to happen.
Is it getting any better? Well, unfortunately, I can only say there's a number of variables and people can make up their own minds. Since the Birmingham 6 release in 1991, our prison populations have doubled, both in Scotland and in England. And since the Birmingham 6 release in 1981, there's been over 500 serious miscarriage of justice victims for serious capital crimes have been released.
There's going to be a lot more innocent people coming out of prison. Hopefully we'll get the help for them that will enable them to live what you and other people call a normal life. Because for us, we haven't got any sort of life at all.
Birmingham 6, Glasgow 2. This is not the football result. This is not the football result. This is the final score.
Left till 3 in the morning and your mama will have to come and get you. Disrupt our whole working day.